It's to catch the eye. It's to catch the passers-by and entice them in. That's what shopfronts do. You've only got that split second or two to catch somebody's interest.
The window is an opportunity to communicate, and we've, over the years, used the window to express messages in big graphic vinyls.
Just having a shop front means that, you know, you can see out to the world can see, look and see you. It just feels like we're a wee bit more part of the community.
That particular window, if that window was any other style, I don't think we would be here. I don't think we could have survived.
The big windows are very important for people outside to walk past or to drive past and to see exactly what we are doing. So the shop front proportions were very important to us.
A lot of it was ruined because a lot of shops were ripped out in about the 80s, so we tried to replicate quite a bit just to give it that sort of traditional look. It was just an ideal shop for me.
So there's this amazing sort of architectural history and timeline that exists within our streets that we perhaps take for granted because we walk past them every day. There's a strong sense of identity associated with shop fronts because they're part of our everyday lives. We go in and out of shops and they're part of our childhood. They create a timeline in our high streets, they create interest, they represent the architectural history of a place and also the social history. And there's also about all the sort of materials like cast iron and timber and all the sort of different things that have been used in different periods of time. They have very distinctive architecture depending on when they were built. And I think that that's quite interesting. You can see a Victorian shop front or an Edwardian shop front or a 1930s shop front, and they all look very, very different, and that's what creates the variety that makes our towns so fascinating.
A town, depending on its makeup, its importance, its background and its history, the shops will reflect that. So if you were to walk around St Andrews and look at the range of shops that we have, you can tell the makeup of the town if you look at it carefully. The shop front will be designed to attract that market.
The shop reopened in 1963, and that's when that front went in. That design was made for us. It's fiberglass, and it was produced just for us, so nobody else will have this type of sign, and we won't get rid of it, ever.
Shop front more or less dates from when the shop was opened, and it's, as far as we can tell from photographs that we've got, it's always been a black and white shop front, and it hasn't really changed much since then. You know, I don't think our window entirely follows the up-to-date rules of window dressing, but people seem to like it. We are maximalists, not minimalists.
The shop front is like our business. It's traditional, but we like to think that we move with the times, so the signage above is not necessarily traditional. There are vinyl elements to it. I think if we did something too left field, it would be, oh, what have they done? Oh, there would be a bit of consternation.
Yeah, you get so many places where you go to in the city, for example, and a high street chain will take it over, and it's a uniform shop front. It's a look that they're looking for, and it strips away a lot of the traditional and a lot of the classical shop front. The customers that we have and the customers that I see and speak to in town, they have a real desire to get back to the independent trader.
The shop front here is sort of Art Deco and 1920s shop front. It's just, I like the way it's brass fittings, it's just quality finish, solid wood. The name itself is still gold leaf. We try and keep it traditionally gold leaf over the shop. I use a traditional SIGNWRITER because it's old-fashioned. It's in keeping with my whole idea of the business. Underneath the business we're modern, but we like to have this personal touch. The signwriter comes in, which I know he'll just do my signs.
The place for traditional signwriters today, I think it is similar to where it was, but slightly different. Previously, a signwriter would do everything, so he would have to be able to do quick, cheap work and really fancy, expensive, time-consuming work. Whereas now the quick, cheap work is catered for by the vinyl market. So effectively, I think it's kind of pushed the traditional signwriters up a bit. We tend to get work from independent businesses that really take pride in what they do. I've noticed over the past year or two that there is a kind of movement heading back towards traditional signwriting.
This part of Glasgow in particular has a lot of creative businesses, and we are very visible, we're very conspicuous. There is no commercial benefit to our business being here, but the social and cultural benefit, I think, is fundamental to our business. Maybe now the traditional function of displaying your wares for sale is less important than it is just to engage people and get people thinking.
The kind of homogenisation of like streets and sort of streetwear and stuff is now starting to maybe get pushed back a little bit. It's not enough. I think people see the value in things being different. It's just a nice way to be, in view, because that's kind of what we do. We're designing stuff for people. And we do get people just coming in off the street. Before, when we were up in the sky in the attic, nobody ever knew where we were. So I think it does work. We quite often even refer to ourselves as a design shop. It's actually become a part of who we are.
I think traditional shopfronts should be conserved because of the history that they represent. I've been studying shopfronts for about 15 years now, and over that time I think there's been a sea change in interest in shopfronts. When I first started, there was very little information out there, and as a result, a lot of shopfronts were being lost and taken away.
So many businesses now coming into a high street and just ripping out. You're having your corporate businesses coming in, it all looks the same. Things have to stay attractive. To keep people coming to the high street, it has to stay attractive.
My advice is always to work with the original, work with the features that you have, and to try and embrace the heritage of the building and the town that you're working in. And I think if you do it properly, and if you think you do it sympathetically, then it's a real strong brand in itself.
I think now there's a much greater awareness of the importance of them and how to care for them.
It's quality, and there's heritage, and there's a bit of provenance, and there's character about it. So that's why it's important that we keep this particular style of shopfront.